What a dumbass. Anyway, yeah, I've already started with the stupid people this morning on the streets. Anyway, folks, I hope everyone's doing well. I won't be on too long. Believe it or not, I'm headed to the range, and it will be 105 out here today. But I'm hoping that nobody will be there, and I know we have covered shooting booths, so that'll be fun. And of course, this is the outdoor range. Actually, the Silhouette, there's a Silhouette range, and it's about 100 yards by 100 yards. This is big square field. Hey, Wisconsin. It has a bunch of steel targets, which those of you who've never seen my Super Chicken video, I won't spoil it. Go find the Super Chicken. There's different animal shapes, velociraptors and shit. It's basically meant for 22 caliber competitions, but it's a lot of fun. So, hey, what's up, Jules? Hey, Suburban. Hey, Grit. Hey, Steven. Good morning. I believe I can fry. Oh, that's so bad. That's like the worst. That is a damn good dad joke, Steven. I don't know where you came up with that, but that's funny as shit. And of course, somebody's going to say that it's racist. I don't know. Okay, so just a little background on me for anyone who's new. My dad, if you ever seen the movie Gran Torino, Clint Eastwood plays the old Korean War vet, and he's like racist to everything. That was my dad, but my dad was Puerto Rican. So everybody he didn't like, every culture, every color, they had a problem. And he especially didn't like the other Puerto Ricans if they didn't do what he thought. And he was an army guy, right? So he's like, "Es sucio, he needs a bath." But he'd say it loud and it would echo, and then he'd go, "Oh no, I said that too loud." I'm like, "Dad, what the fuck?" And then of course I did that to my kids, and now I'm looking at my son, and my sons do it. So clearly my dad, that's how you live on. The dumb shit parents do goes for generations. And then like my granddaughter the other day just smacked a little boy because he hissed at her or something. She didn't like that. She goes, "No bite," and she smacked him. She's 2 years old, just whack. And I'm like, damn, her future husband's gonna have his hands full. But yeah, so anyway, the dumb things parents do perpetuate. But folks, I'm assuming y'all watching what the hell happened in LA. So it is official. Their 2,000 guardsmen are headed to LA if they haven't gotten there yet. I understood the first company of about a company and its support, maybe about 100, did arrive last night. They staged out of one of the federal buildings, and I saw a video where they opened up the bay doors. People are just throwing shit, right? Because they're freaking out in the street. And these guys just poured out, and it was just this wave of green ants. And the minute they cleared the doors, you saw all the little launchers, pop, 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 all at once. And the whole street was full of tear gas and flashbangs, like the whole street. Half the protesters were immediately on the ground from the concussions, and the soldiers just basically cleared the street. And then there was a little van pulled up, and they were just grabbing people, zip tie in the van, and they're just... So clearly, this has gotten out of hand. LAPD is standing down at the orders of the mayor. Now, whether you agree or disagree, if they're serving a lawful warrant and you interfere, it's illegal. You're going to get arrested. LAPD doesn't seem to want to touch this, and I don't know if it's because they live there and like they don't want their houses burned down by whatever the hell's going on. But this is absolutely insane. They've already attacked the LAPD cars, and ironically, LAPD was standing back. They were giving ICE room to do whatever the hell it was they were doing. And ICE got attacked. They're throwing bricks. Last night, they're reporting they were throwing M80s at the cops. No live fire yet. So it started as a riot, but now the governor and the mayor are refusing to enforce the law. So at what point do we go from a riot to an insurrection? Because I've said this before, and people get angry when I bring it up, but like, you know, January 6th, did they want to try and make it an insurrection? Maybe, I don't know. To me, it looked like a riot of dumbasses who did something they weren't supposed to, and then it got out of hand. Was it instigated? I don't know. Haven't looked into it enough. I have feelings that it was instigated, and then it perpetuates, right? It snowballs. But regardless, I've always said a real insurrection, a real civil war is not just at one building. That's more like a riot, at least from what I've seen. When you have the streets on fire everywhere in a city, that starts bordering on a case where they're going to throw martial law. And I mean, that's something we can all debate. That's not the goal here. The goal is, what can we learn from what we're seeing here? Because for those of you who are new, because I see some new names here, and good morning to anyone I haven't seen. I've always taken a pragmatic approach in my preparedness. That's why when I wrote the book Defensive Preparedness, it was meant to give you a guideline for prepping in hard economic times. Spending your mortgage payment, to try and prepare for something doesn't help anything, right? Because what the hell are you prepping for, right? You want to be smart. You go to grocery store, you buy some canned goods, get 2 extra cans, put those in a separate place. There, you're prepping, little preps. What can you take away? What can you learn from what's happening right now? Regardless of what your political viewpoints are and what's going down. What if you were on a business trip? What if you were just visiting a friend or family member and all this shit broke out outside? Let's say it wasn't immigration. I don't know. Let's just say they were pissed at a baseball team lost the game because a ref made a bad call and they all lost their shit. What would you want to have with you? How would you plan your route out? Would you try to get out? Would you try to hunker down? Do you plan your trips in advance so you can go from A to B and get from one point to another? And do you have alternate routes? A lot of people who I've seen get caught in a hurricane, flood, tornado, blizzard, whatever, they have one route, right? Their primary route, and they get stuck and they don't have a plan. They don't know another route. Or they'll deviate and they get lost and then they get stuck somewhere and nobody knows where to look for them because nobody knew what their alternate route was. So this isn't just for riots, right? This is for every day. You're going on vacation and you're going to go visit your uncle or your aunt or your cousin. Let them know, hey, I'm going to go up, I don't know, I-10. If something happens on I-10, I'm going to get off and I'm going to go up County Road, whatever, 54, and I'm going to go from A to B, and then I'll get back on the highway. Let someone know what your routes are. Because if they hear, oh, there's a wreck, there's a hurricane, there's something has happened, you'll know enough to go, okay, they're going to be on Route B. So I'm going to go looking for my person. Now, this is something we learned in the corporate world. I have convoys with hazmat and chemicals and shit going everywhere all the time. They have a route, but they have an alternate. So if I know the convoy didn't show up at their destination, I'm going to call the destination and say, okay, you send your pickup truck driver back on the same route. I'm going to go from the town toward you, and I'm going to meet your driver at this point and see if one of us finds the convoy or the driver or whatever was missing. When you travel, do you bring, especially if you're in a vehicle, do you bring food? Do you bring water? Do you bring first aid kits? There's a lot we can learn. And the problem is we get so convoluted in the politics of the situation and the emotion. And I see it in the chat now. There are people like lashing out at me. It's like, it's the Capitol building, dude. Yeah, I know it's a freaking Capitol building, homeboy. Point being, we get so convoluted with the damn politics that we don't take the lessons away. And at the end of the day, if it gets that bad, it becomes a free-for-all. It doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter what color you are. If there are people who are willing to be violent and you have something they want or they need or they think they need or they just feel like taking, or they're a psychotic and they just want to inflict hurt on someone else, you're going to become a target. You don't want to be caught in traffic, in an intersection, in a riot. You don't want to be caught in a vehicle in an intersection during a hurricane either, or a tornado. That ends badly as well. We really need to look at these situations and back away and try and have an understanding of how these things play out, regardless of who the players are, because it repeats. You go back in history, the shit repeats. How it plays out, how it tends to snowball, how it gets de-escalated, or does it get crushed, which both have happened. And if you were caught there, you ask yourself, what would I have done if I got caught there? If I was caught in a hotel and something popped off outside? If I was trying to drive home and I got caught in a hurricane? Now, hurricane, usually you know the damn hurricane's coming, right? Because they're talking about it for a week beforehand. But you get the gist. Don't take a panic approach to preparedness. And this is for personal use, not just, zombie apocalypse and riots, right? Real things happen to real people. People have car accidents. God forbid your wife or husband have a car accident, and now you have a spouse in the hospital and they're not working, so you lost that income. Do you have the food at home to cook for the kids for a week until you figure out what the hell to do next? A lot of preparedness should be about giving yourself time and giving yourself options to figure out your next move if something so unexpected happens that you didn't have an idea or a plan for it. And if anything, whatever you do, don't go and run up credit cards. Whether we get another Rona or the whole city, the whole country winds up rioting, don't run up your credit cards unnecessarily, because at some point somebody's going to have to pay that back, right? Don't go and cause harm to one another. Don't go and attract attention to yourself. Be practical, be smart, think your actions through. There's a guy on another platform, and he's a firearms instructor for the feds, and he's retired now. And he always says, good gunfighters are thinkers, not doers. He said a gunfighter who thinks and trains repeatedly does things instinctively, and they know what comes next because they've thought it through. It's a foundation behind the skill. And the same thing for prepping. Preppers should be thinkers. You should stop and think, wow. Like the toilet paper thing during Rona. I never even saw that during hurricanes. People would buy toilet paper, yeah, but you didn't fill up a truck with the shit. It was deranged. Why? You can't. And then people were fighting over the teepee. And I'm like, there's paper towels over there. Wipe your ass with that. Get the baby wipes. Like the shit I saw during COVID and during the last hurricane, people were freaking out because they couldn't find the liquid antibiotic soap. And you go around the display and there was Dove bars. Man, I used Dove bar. I was a poor kid. I used the shit out of Dove as a kid. Those bars like 30 cents each, and there was a boatload of them. So I bought that. It's still soap. It cleans you. It gets rid of germs. Why are they freaking out? Yes, Gerald, exactly. Try to minimize your debt exposure, because that is a risk, right? I've often said try to put statistics in your favor, right? You check your car regularly for, say, flat tires. That reduces the chances you're going to get one. It doesn't mean you won't, but you run less of a risk of having a blowout on the road. By the same token, doing things like keeping your debt low, making sure you manage what debt you do have correctly and it's paid off in a timely manner, reduces your risk of being brought into collections, of having things confiscated or repoed. All of these things play into each other. Try to stack the odds in your favor, but do so in a coherent way. Don't do things in a stupid way that causes you more harm a month down the road. And sorry folks, I got a bunch of glare on this screen, so I can't see half of your damn comments here. Just an FYI, don't ever use wipes or paper towels in a septic system. Oh yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, if it's a porta potty, that's fine. You shouldn't flush baby wipes. You're gonna have to like dispose of them in the trash because they will clog up systems. But point being, if the TP runs out, there are other options. Hell, use napkins for the table if you got to. Hell, you get caught out in the woods out in Texas, you're gonna find like old shop rags and leaf. Like, you got to find something to wipe that. But my point is, think. You should be thinking through, watch what's going on. And I don't like what's going on for either side. I think it's pretty awful and it's escalating, but watch how it escalates. Watch how the people move, the people react, what's going on in the street. What are they attacking first? What are the looters hitting first? Because you have rioters and then you have looters. The rioters are angry at the immigration. The looters are taking advantage of the chaos and they're hitting the stores. And then you have the feds and then the cops, and you have like 4 or 5 different stakeholders in this situation. Pull yourself out of the politics and look and say, what is each group doing? The one that scares me the most are the looters, right? Followed by the feds, because the feds have authority and they could take guns, take cars, etc. They can throw you in jail. But the looters are running amok behind the rioters. The rioters are angry and they're tearing up government buildings because they're like, fuck these guys. And then you have these other guys saying, oh, while you all are burning all that shit down, we're going to go steal TVs and mug people. And you have 2 entities there. Watch how they move. Watch what's being reported. And then ask yourself, hey, if I was caught there, how would I react? If I had a family member caught there, let's just say it's not you. Same, I don't know, my wife's in Dallas and they have a riot like that. And her car, she can't get to it. So she calls me. She's like, hey, I can't get the fuck out of here. Well, shit. Now what are my options? So I can go there. That's 1. Call my son, have my son go there. That's 2. I can call some of the guys at work and say, hey, is anybody at work in my facilities in that city? I have 4 or 5 facilities there. Can someone go to this address, pick up my wife, bring her back to our base? Because our base has security and a fence. Has a bathroom and it has a kitchenette. And I'm like, at least I know she's in a safe area and she's away from the rioting. And then I can start planning plan B. How do I get to her? Or how do I get her to me? I call guys in my veterans group. Hey, any of you guys traveling through the city, can you pick up? All right. I know for a fact every one of these guys is carrying often multiple types of firearms when they're traveling. So I call and say, hey, I know if somebody attacks that vehicle, they're going to get lit up. So I start thinking options. So look at what's going on. Look at all the different stakeholders. It's not just law enforcement and the people. They're fragmented. LAPD is doing something totally different than the feds. Now the National Guard's coming in. So you have 3 entities doing one thing. You have the rioters, you have looters, and then you have people who are just being crazy, like crackhead people, and they're just going around destroying shit like the Joker. So you have all these entities. Look at them and try to learn, wow, what are these players doing? And this is how we better prepare ourselves for this kind of emergency. And that same lesson can be applied to a hurricane, a flood, a tornado. God forbid you get laid off from your job. You can learn other things. Wow, I got laid off, but guess what? I have food at the house, so I don't have to hit the stores for a week or 3 weeks or a month because I have amenities at home because I thought ahead. So anyway, folks, I just wanted to leave that with you. Think practically, stay on your budget, save your time, your money, your energy, and extract, whether you believe or disbelieve, whatever politics, when you see stuff like this, pull yourself out of the politics and instead look at what are the boots on the ground doing? How are the stakeholders, the players behaving? Which one would be the biggest concern for you if you were there? And that kind of gives you insight as to how one should prepare for these kind of emergencies. Anyway, that's it for this one, folks. I'm off to the range. Just pulled into a gas station. So you guys be good, be safe, be careful out there. Pay attention. Remember, a good prepper is a thinker. Think your plans through as best you can. We can't predict everything. And stack odds in your favor. That's what it's all about. Anyway, you guys be good. Be safe out there.